I had a miscarriage when I was 39, and then 6 months later, the week I turned 40, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My life was forever changed, and I remember feeling anxiety and fear and trying to make sense of it all, and yet here I am now, more than 20 years later, standing in front of you to tell my story. So I believe we are a collection of our stories, and that all our stories bring us exactly to this moment where we are right here, right now, tonight, and that in our stories there is always a gift. It was September 29th, 2013, when I received a call from Sam, my student, to say that his friend Yannick had just arrived from Rwanda, and he needed some things in his apartment. Could I help? So we met on the steps of 115 Grant Street in Portland. Japhet answered the door and brought us upstairs to meet the other two roommates, Yannick and Pascal. I looked around the apartment and I saw that they had 2 couches and a lamp, 3 air mattresses, 3 blankets, 2 plates, 1 bowl, 2 forks and a spoon, 3 cups. That was it. I returned in an hour with a dining room table and chairs, pots and pans, dishes, cups, saucers, silverware for 6, towels, blankets, sheets, pillows, curtains, and a promise to get them real beds and anything else they needed for the apartment. I also had 2 more students with me and 2 jumbo pizzas. We sat on the couches, and Yannick played the guitar, and we sang songs, and we told stories, and we laughed, and we built community. When I got home that night, I cried all night because I realized that everything that I had brought to that apartment I had taken out of my home, but it hadn't made a dent. And I realized how much I have and how grateful I should be and how much more I could do. Japhet was the quietest of the 3, but he had taken my phone number when I left. And over the next couple weeks, we spent hours together finding more things for the apartment and decorating, but we also sat on those couches writing the declaration for his asylum application. And sometimes we sat in silence while tears rolled down my cheeks. And I realized that what I had in front of me was a young man who had endured more in his short lifetime than I could possibly imagine. And yet, he was also smart and funny and talented and handsome and wounded. But I am wounded too. We all are, right? But we work really hard to hide our wounds and to look okay to the world. And yet, this young man had trusted me with the most precious parts of his life, his story. And so I knew that I could trust him too, always. At the end of October, we were sitting in my car at the Park Avenue Healthcare Center, and I was getting him to an appointment. And I remember it was raining, and he said he had 2 questions to ask me. The first was this: will you always support me in everything that I do? Yes, I answered quickly. And the second came without hesitation: will you be my mom? So I've had many students who refer to me as their American mother, but this was different. This was a young man who wanted a mother again, and he was asking me. And I so wanted him as my son. And I said yes. And we embraced, and we cried, and at that moment I gave birth to Japhet, and my life was again forever changed. I said a silent prayer to his biological mother, Fortunée, wherever she may be, that I would guide him, protect him, and love him always. Eventually, he moved in, and yes, we had our growing pains. We fought about dishes and leaving gum in his pants and not coming home on time with the car. And it's not that I wanted this conflict, but in a way I liked it. Because it normalized our relationship. It made him a real son and me a real mom. I never hesitate to call him my son, and in fact, my heart swells whenever I do. And his term of endearment for me is Mother Margaret, which is another story, and we don't have enough time. But we have Sunday dinners every week at our house, and I never know who's going to come or from what parts of the world. But Japhet always says, our home is full of love, and I cherish that image. So the reason I tell you that I think we are a collection of our stories and that our stories bring us to the exact moment we are right here, right now, tonight, is because if I didn't have that miscarriage and I hadn't been diagnosed with cancer, I wouldn't have left my job earlier and I wouldn't have started teaching at SMCC and I never would have met Sam, so I never would have met Japhet. And I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now telling you the story of the young man who taught me about forgiveness and love, the young man who made me a mom, the young man who changed my life forever, my gift, my son. So I say to you, Japhet, forgive me my shortcomings, and there are many, including not telling you what was going to happen tonight. And I know that I can be a pain in the ass, and by the way, so can you. But please know that no matter what, you are always at the center of my heart, and that there is nothing in this whole world that makes me happier than when I hear you say to someone, I want you to meet my mom. I love you. Thank you.